David Blanchflower joins us now. He's a Bloomberg contributing editor, former member of the Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee, currently a professor up at Dartmouth, friend of InBusiness. David, welcome back to the show. I'm looking at an editorial you wrote. You are very skeptical that anything has changed. So the Greeks are headed to default, period.
Well, I think they are headed to default, period. Clearly, you need to give them money and you need to try and have some degree of austerity measures. But what hasn't been fixed, and I write about this in my editorial, is that Greece is a terrible place to do business. The UN's website called the Doing Business Project ranks Greece 109th. I was just looking at the numbers. Beating it just ahead of it was Ethiopia, Yemen, Paraguay, Bangladesh and the Marshall Islands. It's a terrible place to try and set up a business. It's a terrible place to get things done. There's no sensible tax collection system. So how is this going to get fixed in the next 3 days? It's going to take 10 years for that to happen. So the Greek infrastructure has to be changed. They have to set up, if you like, an IRS. How's that going to be fixed in the next few weeks? It isn't. So the fundamental problems haven't been addressed. Greece is inevitably going to default. There is an issue whether it leaves the euro, but default is inevitable.
But, I mean, leaving the euro, we talk about that possibility, but doesn't it seem like almost an empty threat? It's so difficult to get to the point where you, once again, have your own currency. They're in, whether they want to be there or not, right?
I think that's right. I think they are in. There's some work done by Barry Eichengreen where he talks about how hard it is for a country to actually leave. First off, you have to have been printing lots of drachmas, but also computers have to be reprogrammed for car parks. Mortgages that are denominated in euros would then have to be translated into drachmas. It's a very difficult process. Just think how long it takes a country to join. So once you're in, although it would take a long time to leave. And I think these fundamental problems have to be addressed, and they simply are not. What are they talking about in terms of improving the tax collection system?
Right.
They are not doing that at all.
Right. Well, raising questions, how could they pay down the debt that they're taking on, particularly if they get this second loan? But I want to ask you, David, the Bank of England, you used to be a member there, out today saying, hey,
yep,
maybe we need more bond buying, just looking at where the global economy is right now. What does that tell us about what Ben Bernanke is saying behind closed doors this morning?
Well, first of all, I can guarantee you the members of the FOMC would know about this, the MPC minutes that came out this morning. There was a speech by one of the members, an old friend of mine, Paul Fisher, earlier in the week, and some comments. He said that he certainly wouldn't rule out more QE, and that was the surprise to the markets today. The minutes said a number of members were thinking about the possibility of more asset purchases. In some sense, the MPC has to respond to the fact that the Fed previously did them and they didn't respond. If you like, QE's kind of competitive now. It raises asset prices, depreciates your currency, and everybody else probably has to respond. So I think as the world economy is slowing, as there is this great sovereign debt crisis in Europe, there is a risk to the downside, and the response of the Fed and the MPC will likely have to be more asset purchases, QE3 in the US. And they've signaled it in the UK today that maybe that's where they're going to have to go.
And you read that signal from the UK today as a sign of what kind of quantitative easing, what kind of support in the US? Well,
I don't read anything much about from the minutes about what form that would take. But clearly, there's been a shift in the focus. The new boy Broadbent, who came onto the committee and replaced Sentence, voted for no change. But I think you will see central banks thinking about, if we're going to do this, not just are we going to do it, how much are we going to do, but what are we going to purchase? I mean, the Bank of England, for example, may well be thinking about purchasing more private sector assets. And I heard Mike McKee talking about there'll be thoughts about how you do more stimulus. So I don't know yet what they'll actually do, but they clearly will be thinking about, should we change the focus on what we've bought?
Well, we'll all be listening in midday today here in the U.S. for just what the Fed is thinking. David, thank you so much.